You know that feeling when you're watching a movie and the main character is just so asterisk, good times, they're noble, they sacrifice, they take the high road. And you sit there thinking, who actually lives like that? This isn't a story about that character. This is a story about the person in the background. The one who's tired of being the subplot in someone else's drama. The one who realizes that being the bigger person just means you get walked on from a greater height. Let's talk about Maya. On paper, Maya was the anchor. The reliable friend, the dutiful daughter, the employee who never missed a deadline. Her life was a masterclass in emotional labor, performed with a quiet smile. She was the one you called at 2 a, the one who remembered birthdays, the one who smoothed things over. Her identity was built on a single, unshakable pillar, being needed. And for a long time it worked. It gave her a shape, a purpose. But purpose, when it's built entirely on the needs of others, has a weight, a slow, accumulating gravity. You don't feel it at first. You feel useful, necessary, good. But then the architecture of that life begins to strain. It shows up in the small silences. The way she'd sit in her car after work, the engine off for 5 full minutes before going inside to an empty apartment. Not because she was tired, but because that was the only space where no one was waiting for a piece of her. It was in the way she'd rehearse simple conversations, asking for a day off, telling a friend she couldn't help them move, as if preparing for a conflict that never actually came. Her mind was a constant simulation, running scenarios, optimizing for everyone else's comfort. Her relationships were a series of gentle accommodations. She dated people who were charmingly chaotic, artistically temperamental, wonderfully times-needy asterisk. She was the steady ground for their lightning, and in the quiet of her own mind, she mistook this dynamic for love. She thought her ability to absorb emotional chaos was a superpower. It wasn't. It was a calibration. A nervous system trained to find its worth in the act of containment. The brain is a pattern recognition machine. Maya's had learned a very specific pattern times. Your value is a function of your utility. To be loved is to be useful. To rest is to be selfish. Asterisk. This isn't a conscious belief. It's a somatic imprint. It lives in the shoulders that brace when a phone buzzes, in the jaw that tightens when someone says, "Can I ask you a favor?" It's the subtle background hum of readiness. A life spent in the role of emotional first responder leaves you waiting for the next alarm, even in the silence. People called her resilient. They admired her calm. What they were seeing wasn't peace. It was precision. A deeply controlled management of internal resources to avoid overflow. She wasn't centered. She was efficiently partitioned. And this is where the story twists. Because we expect the breaking point to be dramatic. A collapse, a confrontation, a fiery declaration of independence. That's not what happened. What happened was far quieter and far more insidious. It was an invitation. A new project at work, a high-visibility role with a demanding, brilliant, volatile leader named David. He was the kind of man described as a lot, which is corporate shorthand for "will burn through your sanity like fuel." Everyone warned her. But Maya heard something else in the warning. She heard a challenge. A chance to prove once and for all that her capacity was limitless, that she could handle the unhandleable. This wasn't just a job offer. It was a validation of her entire life's thesis. She said yes. What she didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that David wasn't just difficult. He was a master in the art of asterisk, gaslighting, asterisk. Not the cartoonish mustache-twirling kind. The sophisticated, professional, deniable kind. The kind that makes you doubt your own perception of reality, not with shouts, but with a raised eyebrow. Not with insults, but with strategic, soul-eroding praise. "I'm giving you this feedback because I see so much potential times in you," he'd say, after dismantling her work with a smile. A less committed person would have buckled under this pressure. "But you're not like them, are you?" He reframed exploitation as opportunity. He recast her exhaustion as a badge of honor. He mirrored back to her the very identity she had built, the indispensable, unshakable anchor, and he used it as a lever to extract more. And Maya, whose entire sense of self was built on being the one who could endure, who could fix, who could times handle it, began to fracture. Not on the outside. On the outside she became more efficient, more polished, more relentlessly competent. But inside, the simulation was breaking down. The part of her that had always calculated how to be needed started asking a different, terrifying question. What if I just stopped? It wasn't a question of rebellion. It was a question of physics. A system cannot indefinitely output more energy than it takes in. She was approaching a silent internal event horizon, the kind of collapse that doesn't look like a collapse at all. It looks like a person perfectly intact, going mechanically through the motions, while something fundamental within them has already ceased to function. The plot twist wasn't coming from the outside, it was brewing in the quiet, in the space between her programmed responses. The twist wasn't about David, it was about the moment Maya would realise she had been gaslighting herself for decades. And the most dangerous person in any system isn't the Karen screaming in the cafe. It's the quiet one who finally stops playing by the rules she never agreed to. The one who looks at the script written for her, the martyr, the anchor, the endless giver, and decides with terrifying calm to write her own. That moment was coming. And it wouldn't be loud. It would be a decision made in a breath and a pause, in the space between one heartbeat and the next. The story of how a person built for endurance learns for the first time how to simply let go. There is a silence that doesn't come from peace. It comes from a calculation. The moment you realize that speaking your truth would be inefficient, that the energy required to explain your exhaustion is greater than the energy required to simply endure it, so you go quiet. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you have run the cost-benefit analysis of your own emotions, and the numbers don't justify the output. This is where Maya lived now, in the silent spreadsheet of her own resilience. David's words times a less committed person would have buckled. But you're not like them, are you? Times didn't feel like manipulation in the moment. They felt like a key turning in a lock she herself had built. He wasn't lying to her. He was speaking the language of her own operating system. He was praising the very architecture of her burnout. And the brain, when it hears its deepest programming validated, doesn't register alarm. It registers a grim, familiar confirmation. Asterisk. Yes, this is what I am for. This is my function. Asterisk. So she worked. With a smile that had become a somatic fact, a muscular memory unrelated to joy. Her productivity became even more precise, her composure more flawless. She was not breaking down. She was optimizing her collapse into a sustainable silent metric. To understand this, you have to look past the concept of hard work and into the psychology of identity-based performance. For Maya, competence wasn't just something she did, it was who she times was. It was the core narrative that held her sense of worth together times I am the one who handles things. Therefore, if I am handling things, I have value. If I stop, I cease to exist. David's genius, the cruel, intuitive genius of certain leaders, was that he didn't demand more work. He offered more times identity. He framed each new unreasonable demand, not as a task, but as an affirmation. Only you can do this. Translation times. Your existence is justified by this burden. Her nervous system was caught in a feedback loop it had designed itself. The very mechanisms she'd built for safety, hypervigilance to others' needs, preemptive, problem-solving, emotional austerity, were now the bars of her own cage. The amygdala, that ancient alarm bell, wasn't ringing about danger anymore. It was ringing about the time's potential for failing her own definition of self. The fear wasn't of David's disapproval, it was of the psychic void that would open if the title, the one who handles it, was suddenly revoked. And this is where the true fracture began. Not with a cry for help, but with a series of silent systemic errors in her own internal mainframe. She would be in a meeting nodding perfectly, while a detached part of her mind observed the scene from a great cold distance. That's my voice, agreeing to that deadline. Interesting. She would draft a flawless email, and as her finger hovered over, send a blank, hollow space would open up behind her eyes. Who is writing this times? She'd lie awake at 3 a.m, her body humming with a tiredness sleep couldn't touch, and her thoughts weren't about projects or deadlines. They were a single repeating line of code times system overload, protocol unsustainable, The plot twist was not an external event. It was an internal audit. It happened on a Tuesday. She was preparing the 4th revision of a presentation, a task of profound triviality, when the request came in for a 5th. And instead of the familiar surge of dutiful anxiety of times, I must find a way times, there was nothing, a null set, a complete emotional zero. In that void, a new question formed, clear and cold as glass. What if capable is just the story I was hired to tell myself? Asterisk. This was the asterisk, self-gaslighting, asterisk. She saw it now. For years, she had dismissed her own exhaustion as a personal failing, a lack of grit, a weakness in her otherwise reliable software. She had pathologized her own need for rest. She had taken the external pressure and baked it into her own identity, then blamed herself for the strain of carrying it. She had been both the prisoner and the warden, whispering to herself the same mantra times. A less committed person would buckle. Asterisk. The Karen the overt antagonist is easy to spot. They are the external scream. The far more dangerous force is the internalized one. The quiet, efficient voice that convinces you the cage is a throne. Maya stood up from her desk. The action was not dramatic, it was mechanical. She walked to the window. She looked out at the city, a grid of other windows holding other versions of the same silent calculation. The breakdown was not coming. It was already complete. It had happened in the quiet, in the cumulative subtraction of self for the sake of a role. Healing would not begin with a fiery resignation or a dramatic confrontation. It would begin with this, the decision to stop betraying her own nervous system, to stop translating its legitimate distress into a flaw in her performance. It would start with the terrifying revolutionary act of becoming less times capable, of allowing a deadline to be missed, of allowing a problem to remain unsolved, of uttering the simple subversive sentence, "I cannot handle that." The person built for endurance was about to discover a new skill, the art of the strategic surrender. Not giving up, but giving times and times to the truth her body had known for years, that the most profound strength sometimes looks exactly like stopping, and the system built on her endless output would shudder on its foundations when its most reliable component finally quietly chose to power down. The moment of change is never when you fight the monster. It's when you realize you've been feeding it piece by piece with your own hand, and you decide calmly to simply drop the fork. Asterisk. Part 3. The strategic surrender, asterisk. There is a specific kind of silence that follows a system failure. It's not the silence of peace. It's the silence of a machine that has finally exhausted its last override protocol. No alarms sound. No lights flash. It simply stops. For Maya standing at the window, that silence was internal. The frantic inner monologue, the recalculations, the justifications, the rehearsals had ceased. The software had crashed. All that was left was the raw, unprocessed data from her own nervous system, a hollow hum in her chest, a weight in her bones that had nothing to do with physical fatigue. This is where the real work begins. Not in the dramatic outburst, but in the quiet aftermath of a truth you can no longer unsee. You have spent years building an identity on a foundation of capability. You are the one who handles things. The reliable one, the calm one, the one who says, "I've got it," even when your internal architecture is groaning under the load. To step away from that identity doesn't feel like liberation at first. It feels like a betrayal of everyone who has come to depend on the facade yourself most of all. The world is built to reward the handlers. It calls your endurance strong. It calls your numbness professional. It mistakes your hypervigilance for attention to detail. The system has a label for every adaptation you've made, and every label is a gold star, a promotion, a nod of respect. It never asks about the cost of the calibration. So when you first consider stepping off the treadmill, the fear isn't about losing the race. The fear is that you will disappear entirely. If you are not the capable one, the strong one, the one who endures, then who are you? You have conflated your worth with your utility. Your personality has become a portfolio of survival skills. This is the core of the internalized antagonist. It's not a voice that shouts, "You're worthless." It's a voice that whispers times. Your only value is in what you can withstand. Asterisk. It turns your greatest adaptations into your only identity. And it frames any desire to rest, to step back, to say no, not as self-care, but as an existential threat. Maya's first act of rebellion was microscopic. It wasn't a resignation letter. It was an email. She opened her laptop, the glow illuminating her tired face. She typed a reply to a client's last-minute urgent request that was neither urgent nor a request, it was a demand. For years, her fingers would have flown crafting the perfect, accommodating, considerate-done response. This time she typed 4 words. Asterisk. Not possible this week. Asterisk. She stared at them. They looked alien on the screen. Aggressive. Almost rude. Her hand hovered over the delete key. The old software tried to reboot times. Just do it. It's easier than the conflict. This is what you're for. Asterisk. She took a breath, a real one, deep into her diaphragm, a breath she hadn't realized she'd been avoiding. She hit send. The action was not followed by a wave of relief. It was followed by a wave of somatic terror, a jolt in her stomach, a tightness in her throat. This was not fear of the client's reaction. This was the fear of a deeply wired identity confronting its own obsolescence. Her body was reacting as if she had just stepped off a cliff, because in a way she had. She had stepped off the cliff of her own performative capability. This is the plot twist no one sees coming, asterisk, asterisk. Healing often feels like failure, asterisk, asterisk. It feels like you are becoming less, not more. You are becoming less available, less agreeable, less productive, less strong. The internalized voice will scream that this is regression, that you are letting everyone down, that you are becoming weak. But here is the psychological truth it tries to hide. You are not becoming times less asterisk. You are becoming times honest asterisk. You are trading the unsustainable performance of strength for the genuine, messy, vulnerable process of being human. You are swapping a role for a self. The client wrote back, not with anger, but with a simple, okay, let's schedule for next Tuesday. The world did not end. The foundation did not crack. The only thing that shattered was a prediction, a neural pathway that had always equated setting a boundary with catastrophic abandonment. In that non-catastrophe, Maya felt a strange, new sensation space. It was a quiet, hollow space in her psyche where a constant low-grade anxiety had lived. She had created a millimeter of breath between a demand and her own nervous system's response. This is the art of the strategic surrender. It is not giving up on your responsibilities. It is giving up on the belief that you must meet every demand at the cost of your own equilibrium. It is the deliberate, conscious choice to asterisk, asterisk, miss a deadline asterisk, asterisk in order to meet your own need for sanity. It is to asterisk, asterisk leave a problem unsolved, asterisk, asterisk, so that you can solve the more critical problem of your own depletion. It is to look at the forkful of your own energy you are about to feed to the monster of external expectation and to slowly, calmly lower your hand. The system will shudder. It was built on your endless yes. Your no is a foreign syntax, it doesn't compute. But as you repeat the new syntax, a rewrite begins. You are not breaking the system. You are installing a new, more compassionate operating system. One where your worth is not a function of your output, but a prerequisite for it. The journey from a human times doing times to a human times being times starts with a single subversive act of stillness. It starts when the most reliable component chooses not to break, but to finally mercifully power down. You are not falling behind. You are falling back into yourself. And that is the only place true strength has ever been built. Part 4. The strategic surrender. The email sat in her drafts folder for 3 days. 3 days of hovering over the send button, her finger trembling with the ghost of 1,000 past consequences. The request was simple, reasonable, even a colleague asking her to take the lead on a last-minute presentation. The old version of her would have already replied, of course, happy to help, with a bright, performative exclamation point. That version was a ghost, a phantom limb that still ached. This version, the one sitting in the quiet glow of her laptop, typed a different sentence. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I don't have the capacity to take that on right now. No excuse, no elaborate apology, just a clean, clear line in the sand. She didn't feel powerful when she hit send. She felt nauseous. Her heart hammered a frantic rhythm against her ribs, a primal alarm system screaming that she had just broken the most sacred rule times: do not disappoint, do not become a problem. Asterisk. This is the moment they never tell you about in stories of empowerment. The moment after the brave no, when the silence that follows isn't applause but a void. It's the nervous system trained for decades in the art of anticipation, waiting for the punishment it's certain it deserves. The angry reply. The passive-aggressive sigh in the next meeting. The subtle demotion of trust. The brain, a master archivist of every slight and repercussion, plays the greatest hits of relational fallout on a loop. It's not anxiety, it's a prediction, a deeply researched, data-driven forecast of abandonment based on a lifetime of raw data. But then the reply came. Not a reprimand, not guilt. Just 3 words, no problem, thanks. The world did not end. The ceiling did not cave in. The relationship did not crumble to dust. The only thing that collapsed was a prophecy, a neural pathway, worn smooth as a river stone from constant use, that had always mapped the coordinates of self-advocacy directly onto the island of catastrophe. In the quiet that followed the non-catastrophe, Maya noticed a new sensation. It wasn't joy or triumph. It was times, space asterisk, A small, hollow, unfamiliar room had opened up inside her chest, where a constant low-grade hum of dread had lived. She had created a millimeter of breath between a demand and her automatic self-negating times yes asterisk. She had inserted a pause into a script she didn't even know she was reading. This is the anatomy of the strategic surrender. It is not capitulation, it is not laziness. It is the most sophisticated form of warfare waged on internal soil. It is the deliberate decision to asterisk asterisk let a ball drop asterisk asterisk. Not out of negligence, but because you have finally calculated the true cost of catching it, a piece of your sanity, a fragment of your peace, another withdrawal from an account already deep in the red. You let it fall, and you watch with clinical curiosity to see what actually happens. Usually the ground catches it, or someone else picks it up. The ecosystem adjusts. It is the conscious choice to asterisk asterisk, leave a problem unsolved asterisk asterisk, to stare at the tangled knot of someone else's emergency, and instead of reaching for it with your own frayed hands to say, I can see that's tangled, you are not refusing to help. You are refusing to believe that your value is the tool that must fix every broken thing. You are allowing the problem to belong to its rightful owner, which is the first step in teaching them and yourself how to hold it. It is looking at the last forkful of your own energy, the one you are about to dutifully feed to the endless hungry mouth of external expectation, and slowly, calmly lowering your hand, bringing it to your own lips instead. The external system will shudder. It was engineered to run on your endless compliance, your silent efficiency. Your no is a syntax error, a glitch in the matrix. It will ping back with confusion, with repeated requests, with attempts to reboot you into your old familiar code. But as you repeat the new syntax, a gentle, firm, non-negotiable dialect of self-preservation, a quiet rewrite begins. You are not destroying the machine. You are performing a radical, real-time update to its core programming. You are installing a new operating system where your worth is not the times output times of the program, but the essential non-negotiable times environment times required for it to run at all. The journey from a human times doing times to a human times being times does not start with a loud declaration. It starts in the silent, subversive act of stillness. It starts when the most reliable component in the whole damn machine, the one they never worried about, the one that never complained, chooses not to spectacularly break, but to simply mercifully power down, to reboot. On its own terms, you are not falling behind. You are falling back, into the soft, forgotten soil of your own needs, into the quiet rhythm of your own limits. You are returning to the one site where all real strength is ever built, the honest, unperformative, breathing foundation of the self. Asterisk, asterisk. Part 5. The syntax of stillness, asterisk, asterisk. There is a power, quiet and subversive, that lives in the moment you stop translating your peace into someone else's priority. It's not coldness. It's not indifference. It's the profound act of watching a crisis unfold, not as a participant, but as a witness. To stare at the tangled knot of someone else's emergency, and instead of reaching for it with your own frayed hands to say, I can see that's tangled, you are not refusing to help. You are refusing to believe that your value is the tool that must fix every broken thing. You are allowing the problem to belong to its rightful owner, which is the first step in teaching them and yourself how to hold it. It is looking at the last forkful of your own energy, the one you are about to dutifully feed to the endless, hungry mouth of external expectation, and slowly, calmly lowering your hand, bringing it to your own lips instead. The external system will shudder. It was engineered to run on your endless compliance, your silent efficiency. Your no is a syntax error, a glitch in the matrix. It will ping back with confusion, with repeated requests, with attempts to reboot you into your old familiar code. But as you repeat the new syntax, a gentle, firm, non-negotiable dialect of self-preservation, a quiet rewrite begins. You are not destroying the machine. You are performing a radical, real-time update to its core programming. You are installing a new operating system where your worth is not the times output times of the program, but the essential, non-negotiable times environment, times required for it to run at all. The journey from a human times doing times to a human times being times does not start with a loud declaration. It starts in the silent, subversive act of stillness. It starts when the most reliable component in the whole damn machine, the one they never worried about, the one that never complained, chooses not to spectacularly break, but to simply mercifully power down, to reboot. On its own terms, you are not falling behind. You are falling back into the soft, forgotten soil of your own needs, into the quiet rhythm of your own limits. You are returning to the one site where all real strength is ever built, the honest, unperformative, breathing foundation of the self.